You're listening to A Slice of Gaming, Episode 13. But be sure to look out for A Slice of Gaming, Episode 13 Taylor's version coming in October. Welcome to A Slice of Gaming Podcast, Episode 13 for August 11th, 2023. We got a lot of small, big-ish topics to go over. We got a lot of Rockstar news, cover some directs like the Pokémon Presents, the THQ, and what was the other one? Devolver Digital. That was it. But let's get into our half regular co-host and half guest, because guess who decided to take some more vacations? So starting off, not making it into Sony's financial year, it's Wolf.
Hey, I'm gonna make it next year, all
right? Re-releasing on Switch for $50 just to be portable, it's Dark.
Fuck you. Hey, how's it go?
And we can all be thankful that Devolver didn't delay Jat.
Oh, hello. It's good to be back.
And getting a supposed slimmer re-release at Cyber. Did we lose him already?
Yeah, sorry, my microphone was crazy. I am here.
You're fine.
All right. So I think we just got to cover our standard basics here. So be sure to like and follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and Audible. And since I also haven't said it in a couple episodes, be sure to also follow us on Twitter at asliceofgaming.com. .com, we don't have that yet. Shh, quiet. So let's deviate and segue right over to Wolf for the news.
It's okay, man. That was one of your better interests.
I am doing
yeah, as Ben was talking about, we got kind of a smaller, but both a big and small news week in a way. A lot of fun stories. The first one is not a fun story. We're gonna talk a lot about Rockstar. We got kind of a big Rockstar news roundup. I think the big one that's all on our minds though is this Red Dead Redemption remaster, as we thought it was, is actually a port. This comes from Rockstar Games over on Twitter. On August 17th, the beloved Western experience Red Dead Redemption and its horror companion Undead Nightmare arrived together for the first time on Nintendo Switch and modern PlayStation systems. Real quick, I want to add, they did not mention Red Dead Online, so we don't know for sure if that's going to be part of this or not. Be really funny if it wasn't, and I'd also believe it if it wasn't. But yeah, no, that's our immediate story to go off of. And I guess just ask around the panel here, what did we think about this? Dark, you had a lot of choice words towards Rockstar here.
I don't know. This is I get why they're doing it, but it's really scummy. This is an old ass game, and it's just a port. It's not even it's not even a remaster or anything. I think the only new change is that there's much more language options now, which I guess is cool, but I don't think you should be raising the price to $50 or whatever it is. I do want to add that I fully blame Take-Two CEO or whatever the heck he is. Because he had a lot of choice comments about the matter. So he along with all the Rockstar news, he had a lot of stuff this week as well. I think he said, I don't know what he said exactly, but it was along the lines of he believes this is the correct price for the game.
Yeah,
it's the game is old as shit.
It's in
market value.
I forget what it was. Market value. It was basically commercially accurate, something like that. I could find the exact quote.
Which makes 0 sense. But then he also mentioned how this more with GTA, but it still ties into this situation. How not enough players.
I have the whole quote.
Yeah, he's something along the lines of. Oh, you want to say it?
Yeah, this comes from American Truck Song 9 over on Twitter. Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick wants to monetize 100% of the audience, says only about 10% engage with in-game spending. It's our view that we ought to be monetizing 100% of the audience. And then just the person added also, he gets millions in bonuses from microtransactions.
Yeah, so this is the person
the quote you were talking about?
Yeah, this is the person that we got leading these games, and that's why an old-ass game is not even remastered or anything, just a simple port is coming out this price, and they're trying to justify it.
Yeah, and they said commercially accurate is the quote.
Yeah, right.
Cyber, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, I do have some thoughts on that. Listen, I bought Metroid Prime Remastered for $40 earlier this year. I am not paying $50 for Red Dead Redemption. I'm sorry. That's what I'm gonna say.
Metroid Prime was an actual remaster.
It's a legit remaster.
This is a port.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a much better version of an already amazing game. It runs beautifully on the Switch. It has virtually any flaws, and it was $40, which is unheard of for Nintendo. So this guy is saying that it has the appropriate commercial value, whatever. When you compare it to that, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, how is Nintendo the one making sense on the situation?
The most
This is
stingy of
very
people is
confusing to me.
Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo, the ones who are famous for overcharging on old games, is out here charging less than Rockstar here. It's such an insane situation to think about. I mean, Jat Moon, you two got anything on this?
Yeah,
Really?
so
No, no, go ahead, Jet.
oh yeah. So what I was thinking was when I first heard the rumors like about a remaster, I was thinking, oh shit, I bought this. I bought the back compat version on Xbox already because it's like I think it goes on sale for like $10 every now and then, and I'm like, yeah, I'll play it eventually. And I got mad when they were rumored that it was a remaster because I thought, oh, I might have to buy it again. But now that it's a port, it really doesn't make sense. I also think the timing is bad. Like, had this come out 2017, or when the Switch was in its first year before RDR2, I think the reception would have been better because at that time everyone was hyped for new games on Switch. Like, oh, you can play Red Dead portably. That's cool. And now I don't think anyone cares to play Red Dead portably.
No, there's an audience, but I'm pretty sure that audience has dwindled since the announcement of it being an actual port instead of at least even just a clean up remaster. Like it doesn't even have to be super fantabulous like Metroid Prime was. But yeah, I think that's the funniest joke of this whole thing is here are these $50 ports, you're going straight to PlayStation and Switch, and I can go to my Xbox right now and buy it for like $10.
I mean, that's just a weird thing. I want to mention something. I think Fusion was talking about this last week. How it's like, oh, it'd be nice to play this game on PC. No PC port still. I want to mention that GTA 4, GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, all the other Rockstar games have PC ports that you can play on your PC. But for some reason, Red Dead Redemption, they're like, we can't figure it out, man. It's just impossible to port it to PC. It's just insane to me. Like, they couldn't do anything right with this. It's like they can't get the pricing right. They can't get the platforms right. Like, you couldn't even have just a PS5 version. It's like, no, PS4. All of it just doesn't make sense to me from a financial standpoint and also just like from a gamer state. Like, what do we gain from this? Like, as Dad was telling us, you can just buy it on Xbox and play it back compat. It's just, this whole situation makes no sense to me.
It's literally just only for those people who own Switches and PlayStation and just refuse to own a console or a Xbox, I mean, or at least a PC.
I wouldn't have minded this if they followed it up with the announcement of a remaster and it's coming to all platforms, including PC. Then people wouldn't have cared. People would have wanted a remaster of Red Dead Redemption 1
Well,
for
they
a
wouldn't
while.
have bought this. They wouldn't have bought the port then if they also announced the
why.
remaster.
I mean, but so here's my point of view. If they were to have done this, it would mainly been for the Switch crowd because they won't want to be in the hype on like as well, and they'll be able to play the game, just not the remastered qualities and stuff, which I don't think is that bad, to be honest. In that scenario, if that were to happen, but it didn't. So
I'm
I heard it.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, so I heard
No,
a
go ahead.
take about this. I don't remember where it was, but somebody was talking about that they hoped that this was not a sign of things to come for Rockstar, because they were talking about how BioWare, I think it was, had some issues with some remasters or some ports that they were bringing out before, the whole downfall of BioWare. I think it was Blizzard when we're talking about the World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it would be Blizzard because
yeah.
Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah, so I do hope, for the sake of all the Rockstar bros out there, that this isn't a sign of things to come. Because Rockstar is one of the premier devs that we have in the industry, and people love him very much. It would be very sad if they were to fall from grace.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Rockstar simp through and through, but like I will say I don't think this is like a sign of things to come for Rockstar specifically, because this very much this is a Take-Two thing. Like, I don't think this is as much Rockstar. This is a separate porting studio. Rockstar were barely involved with GTA Definitive Trilogy as well. I think at the end of the day, Rockstar is still like an S tier developer. It's just that Take-Two doesn't know what to do with their old games, and that's like a question. It's like, is Rockstar the worst when it comes to being able to play their old games on modern platform? Is that how we view it now? Like, I don't know what you guys think about that.
Them or like Nintendo. Nintendo's probably still the king of like, yeah, you have a very limited access to our older games.
Yeah, just stingy.
Yeah, yeah. With Nintendo though, it's like they give you technically more, but they have so much more in the backlog. So, but like with Rockstar, it's like, just let me play Red Dead Redemption. Let me play GTA 4 on modern consoles. You know, like the fact is that I have to play the Xbox back compat versions. And it's like, why is it like someone on PlayStation can't play GTA 4 on their PlayStation 4 and 5? Like, that's just so weird to me.
On this
Fine
point,
Xbox,
though,
bro.
I do want to say.
I
do
was
want to
just
say,
making fun of.
the CEOs or whatever he is, the COO or whatever, his comments are more what I'm afraid of, because that monetization comment is insane to say. I'm kind of worried what strings he's gonna pull with GTA 6 to make what he said a reality. Like, he seems
My
like the type
only
of person
hope,
to do something about that.
here's what I hope. Worst case scenario, it only affects online. Us single player bros are safe and sound. Give me my 10 out of 10 Rockstar single player campaign. Mess with online. I don't care. I barely play the online. But I mean, perfect world though. Make sure online works and is fun and everything. What were you saying, Sabri?
Yeah, so what are the chances that we get NFTs on
Okay, let's calm down.
GTA Online? No, but listen, because
I
we're
don't
talking
know.
about, well, we're talking about
I
how
think-
Rockstar bought that role-playing company, right?
Yeah, well, I was going to bring that up right now, actually. We can do that right now. Rockstar Games over on Twitter today. We are proud to announce that CFX.RE, the team behind the biggest Rockstar roleplay and creator communities, 5M and Red M, are now officially part of Rockstar Games. This is a pretty insane news story when you really think about it. Like, Rockstar hiring a modding, like PC developer like that who mess with their games, have so much for the community. Like, this is pretty massive news, all things considered, for the gaming industry in general.
That's how they monetize it. They're gonna paywall it. I'm calling it now. They're gonna make something for GTA 6 to be a paid subscription to get access to it.
I'm telling you, man,
Yeah,
they're gonna add NFTs to it.
I can't imagine if GTA 6 came out in 2021 or 2022, then I would say yes. But I think with the fact that like NFTs are basically dead. Like, I feel like the only people really holding on to NFTs is what's it called, Square Enix and Ubisoft. And even then, Ubisoft barely even advertises their NFTs, and Square Enix, I feel like, are slowly shifting away from that model.
Square Enix is Square Enix.
Square Enix is Square Enix, of course, but like I think NFTs are pretty much gone in the gaming industry. We were all worried about Sony as well. PlayStation Stars, that was definitely something that was going to be NFTs, but then they realized that people do not like NFTs, so they're like, take this shitty version of PlayStation Stars instead. Basically, the remnants of what their NFT project was. But thankfully, I don't think NFTs are going to be a thing in the gaming industry anymore, and I think we're all good in that regard.
Yeah, we
I don't
haven't
think
heard
Rockstar's gonna
anything
jump
about
in
it in a while.
Yeah, probably for the best that we move away from their like. I remember, I think, was it Konami that was also one of the companies that was looking into it?
Konami?
I'm not sure, but it feels
man.
like I feel like they did say something about that. I could be wrong though.
Konami. Do you guys remember? Oh man, Castlevania's anniversary where they sold NFTs.
But everybody
Man,
wanted.
I wanted to cry when I saw that, bro. That was like, wow, this is what you do for the anniversary of one of the best gaming franchises. Okay, thank you, Konami.
I think almost every big company during the height of the NFC stuff was like at least saying, yeah, we're going to look into it. So we can't really single them out like that. Almost
Yeah,
everyone
exactly.
did.
Except Nintendo, but they're gonna do NFTs like 10 years later, like they do with
Like everything
else.
else they do.
Now Nintendo is taking the idea of NFTs and they gotta make it something quirky and everybody's gonna love it.
Wow,
NFT's
NFTs
always
are actually
different.
kind of cool.
They gotta do something with it. I don't know what it is yet, but they're gonna come out of nowhere. Just like this one doing with the motion controls, but they haven't let that die yet. They're gonna do something with it.
I can have a
I hope so.
unique villager On my new Animal
I'd be
Crossing
down for
game?
that.
Oh,
Hang on,
no.
I'd actually be down for that. Let them cook. Let them cook. I will say real quick, on this GTA RP studio, them buying them. Do you guys think there's gonna be anything like a GTA RP mode in GTA 6, something like that?
It's possible. Because I think they've seen that this whole role playing thing with Rockstar Games has really taken off between GTA and Red Dead. So like, might as well capitalize on it. Try to get it as big as it can go.
Yeah, because it was so off. Like Take-Two, being one of the worst gaming companies, just was very aggressive against modders of GTA all the time, despite them doing everything for free, not selling anything. They would take down mods, take down like servers all the time. And seeing this is such a good step in the right direction, where it's like, oh, maybe they actually want to work with modders now instead of like being so aggressive against them. But
Maybe.
yeah, do you guys have any more thoughts on this all the Rockstar news that we just went over?
Take-Two is scary.
Like, the thing I was gonna say is, well, this is just a game I want to come to more modern consoles, only because I haven't played it, but I want to play Bully. If they can bring Red Dead, they can bring Bully.
Bully's
Yeah.
on a. You can play Bully on modern consoles.
Xbox.
They released it.
I think Bully can be played through the Xbox back and powered
Yeah,
ability.
it's $15
Yeah,
right now.
Perfect. Yeah.
It was released on PS4 as well.
Yeah, and it
Perfect.
goes on sale for like
Yeah, were you
$6.
not here for that?
Well,
no jokes. Bully is one of my favorite Rockstar. It's my favorite PS2 Rockstar game. That game is so fucking good. You'd love it.
Yeah, it's
Bully is
also on Steam.
$15 on the Xbox store. It's not even back compat, I don't think. It's just a game.
Yeah, it's on
Wow.
Steam as well.
Mhm.
For the Steam Deck bros.
Yeah.
There
Wow.
you go.
So
There you go, Joe.
I have options. Yeah, there we go.
Bro was like, I wish they would bring Bully, this little old game, and then meanwhile they brought it like 5 years ago.
Yeah, bring it again.
I will say I forgot to go over this. One other Rockstar news is like some sale figures. This comes from Videotech X over on Twitter. Take-Two has also revealed Grand Theft Auto 5 has hit 185 million copies to date, with an additional 5 million copies sold during Q1 2024. They also revealed Red Dead Redemption 2's global sales have surpassed 54 million copies during an earnings call. During Q1 of 2024, they achieved 2 million more copies. I mean, that kind of just shows you guys Rockstar games sell.
The name GTA sells.
Yeah.
The
Well, I
CEO
mean, look
wants
at Red
even
Dead,
more
though.
money.
Look at Red Dead 2, 50.5 million. Like, that is nothing to scoff at. That is insane, especially for a cowboy western game that's very story focused, like very slow. Something like that selling 55 million. It's not that GTA sells, it's that Rockstar sells. Anything with a Rockstar logo, people are gonna buy.
Maybe
Unless
with Red
it's
Dead
LA Noire.
specifically. With Red Dead specifically, I mean, like, what really rivals Red Dead when it comes to cowboy games? They kind of have like a monopoly there. It's
yeah,
like,
that's true. There was, I will
I
say
know
though,
there's some games here and there, but
Rockstar games, like other games, have sold even during the PS3 generation when they were doing weird things like Midnight Club and whatnot. I think even table tennis actually sold pretty well as well for them. Even in the case of LA Noire, it's not as if that game sold badly. It's just that the budget of it was so high that no matter what the sales were, it was not gonna like make its money back. So that was kind of like a special case in that regard. But
I'm
yeah,
still sad
Rockstar-
about it.
Yeah, it sucks because LA Noire was such a cool game, but like when you hear about the story of like how heavy the crunch was of that game, it's a brutal development cycle. But like at least the game itself was actually really good.
I just bought it.
Oh, really? You'd enjoy it. It's a fun time.
Yeah.
Moving on. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I was just gonna quickly say like what these sales figures tell me is, and like just based on especially during the pandemic when we saw like a rise of people buying video game consoles, and then with these now current gen, like there's a lot of players on these. When GTA 6 launches is gonna explode. It's gonna be
Oh, yeah.
like, yeah,
It's gonna be the best selling game. Like it's gonna be the best, biggest launch for a game ever. Like easily. Like GTA 6. That's just one of those things. I mean, Take-Two also said during the financial call they are fully preparing. Like they're getting a marketing push ready for like a game to come out in their next financial year. It's very clear what that game is. It's just crazy to think it's like we're this close to GTA 6, but also crazy to think that it's been almost 10 years since GTA 5 came out, which that does not sound right to me.
It's only had like what 3 relaunches.
Yeah,
There
really.
are kids who play GTA as kids who might now have kids of their own. For GTA 5, it is a weird thing to think about.
Yeah, yeah. GTA 5 came out when I was in like the 8th grade, not even in high school, and now I've done my university degree. I have a job, and we still only have GTA 5.
Man, it's even crazier with Skyrim when you think about that game too. It's like,
Oh my god.
these development cycles, man. It's like you get one Bethesda game per generation, you get one Rockstar game per generation. That just doesn't sound like it's crazy to think. Because like Rockstar went from like literally 10 games per generation to just having the one. But when that one hits, it is one of the best games of all time.
The thing
And
that
I
worries
know,
me, though.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm after cutting you off. Oh, I was just gonna say the thing that worries me is that with these super long dev cycles, what if like you wait this long and then the game flops terribly?
I mean, I don't think like Bethesda or Rockstar worry about that, but like, yeah, I think maybe like for a company like BioWare, for instance, like if that next Dragon Age doesn't do well, like that is very terrifying for that studio.
Well, for BioWare, it would be 2 in a row, right? With Anthem.
3 in a row, because
Oh, yeah, I
Mass
forgot
Effect
about
Andromeda
Anthem.
before Anthem, and then Mass Effect Andromeda was right before that. Like, BioWare needs this win. But yeah, I guess that's everything in relation to Rockstar. I mean, any last thoughts?
Get your pre-orders in now for GTA 6 because they're gonna be hard to find.
Oh god, I can't wait. Well, they're gonna print like 50 million copies in anticipation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The copy and
I
just have
can't
it
wait.
sealed and never open it. So then, like 50 years when GTA 7 comes out, you can be like one of the 3 people with a sealed copy of GTA 6.
Moving on. We got the Pokemon Presents. I'm gonna real quick, and I'm gonna go over this Nintendo Life article that did a great roundup of everything written by Jim Norman over there. But I guess before anything, did anyone watch this like live or watch the actual thing? Because
I was up. I was up at 6 a.m.
Oh yes, our soldier.
I
What
watched
did
it
you
live
think
too.
of it? Oh, okay. So we got 2.
It was pretty much as I expected. Of course, there was always that glimmer of hope that we'll get some kind of cool, unexpected announcement. But I think anyone who's been paying attention to how these work and their release cycles knew this wasn't going to be anything major. There was just going to be the deep, not even a deep dive. I think that was the most disappointing. It wasn't even really a deep dive into the DLC, and it was just a bunch of updates on all their mobile crap and stuff.
Yeah. Cyber, you share those sentiments?
Yeah, I think I thought it was a bit more underwhelming. I think than Moon found it. It's just kind of solidified my feelings, the feelings that I was avoiding, that Pokemon is just not for me anymore. I was trying to fight it, but I think I finally accepted it.
Dude, sometimes I think about that, and then I play one of them. It's like, nah, I still like Pokemon games. But
well,
I mean,
that's
go ahead,
fair. Yeah, that's fair. My problem is that usually there's something that motivates me to buy the game, right? With Scarlet and Violet and the DLC coming up now, I just have no motivation to even buy it or try it. But I know that if I try it, I will enjoy it and play it for like 100 hours. But I just don't care enough to buy it. So I don't know.
Yeah,
It might be
that's fair.
dead for me.
It does also help that it's surrounded by probably 100 other games you'd rather play.
Yeah.
It's
And I mean,
coming out at
also-
like probably one of the worst times.
And also, the game still doesn't work. It is still glitchy. I loaded it up recently. It's like, oh god, especially after Zelda, it is hard to look at that game.
Didn't they promise patches?
Oh, they did. they did. Don't you worry. And they I think there was one that happened, and it actually made the game worse. But I don't know, man. Those games are weird. I will
What's going to
say,
be interesting is the DLC is probably going to run better than the actual game, than the regular game, because it's a lot
you would hope.
smaller.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because I mean, the
I will
DLC
say,
for Sword and Shield ran better than Sword and Shield.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, no, I swear I do not remember anything about Sword and Shield, like the main game. So whenever I think about Sword and Shield, I'm like, oh yeah, the Crown Tundra, that was fun. But like the main game, just complete blur in my mind. When it comes to Pokemon Presents, though, the way you were talking about them, Moon, how, like maybe one day you'll get that cool announcement. You want to know why that exists? Is because one time they announced a brand new Pokemon Snap in a Pokemon Presents, and so everyone was like, you know what? I'm gonna get up at 6 a.m. because maybe there is gonna be something cool this time, like
Well,
a
I mean,
Pokemon
that's
Snap.
happened a couple
And they
times.
never did it
Yeah.
again.
No, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
no,
happened a couple times. There's new Pokemon Snap. There was also Legends Arceus. There was
yeah,
no,
Wait,
there
that
was
was a Presents?
yes,
yeah.
and it was
Eh, eh,
completely out of the blue. There was like no leaks about some kind of open world game or anything like that. It was just all of a sudden you get this intro of a CGI thing saying, "Let's tell you a story about thousands of years ago in the Sinnoh region," and then you get this like Breath of the Wild shot of the game, and everyone's like, "What the fuck is this?" And then you see
Oh
him do
yeah,
like a dodge roll, and you're like, "What the fuck?" So
yeah. I watched
yeah,
that live.
so yeah, so besides that, Pokemon Snap, and I think there was one other like pretty
yeah,
decent sized announcement in a Pokemon
yeah,
Presents that I think they also announced. Yeah, they did also announce Gen 9, the introduction
The
of
starters.
the starters, and just the fact
I
that
remember
Scarlet and
that.
Violet exist in a Pokemon Presents. And I think we were all kind of under the assumption that, oh, Gen 9's not going to have it right now. They're still going to ride on Legends Arceus, and like, nope, here's Gen 9, and it's coming out the same year. So yeah,
Yeah,
so
Jet,
it's
you wanted
always
to
the
say something?
possible.
yeah. The other one I was gonna mention, and I think people are hyped because this was in the same direct as Arceus, was the Gen 4 remakes. And
Oh my
like
god, I forgot about that.
yeah, like that one and Arceus in the same Pokemon Presents. And then they announced them. I remember when they announced them like launching near each other, people were mad that like Arceus was coming way too soon.
Oh, I mean, yeah, because like people were like surprised because it was like Gen 4 remakes were in November, and then Arceus was like literally
January.
2 months later in January. It's so weird to think about how like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like Pokemon Presents is such a weird thing because it's like I feel like people wouldn't really complain about it if it wasn't at like 8 a.m. in the morning for like
Mhm.
CST or like 6 a.m. for Moon. He's West Coast. Like why? I get it's early for Japanese viewers, but it's like
like what
you have a Western audience. You know
it's
you
like
have them
what is the
watching
time
this.
for it in Japan? Like what time do they broadcast it in Japan? Does anyone know?
I think it's like 8 hours later. I can check real quick, but yeah, it's
8 hours later
weird.
is like is like the UK.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's at
I don't know.
10 p.m. 10 p.m.
Well, imagine staying up all night just to watch a Pokemon Presents.
That is
But
so weird to think about.
but yeah, I think anyone with like a level head was going into this one going saying, yeah, it's just the DLC. You're gonna get a bunch of updates. Granted, if you didn't have any interest in being a professional Pokemon player going to nationals or any interest in their mobile games, there really wasn't much here for you. And that was to be expected. But there was that slight glimmer that maybe we'll get the next remake announcement, or there's been those rumors of the next Legends game could be teased here, but I think we all kind of knew they're going to strictly focus on the DLC so they can sell that and come the next Pokemon Presents, which, if, according to pattern, should be February next year. And then we'll probably get. So look forward to the next Pokemon Presents when all the DLC
Don't
is
be
out
Gen
of the
5
way.
remix. Don't be Gen 5 remix. Please don't be Gen 5 remix.
We need Legends Unova.
Oh, that I would. Oh my god, Legends Unova, where they finally reveal the original dragon. Like
Yep.
that's what I want.
The original Kyurem. Yep, let's do it.
I guess I'll go over the announcements real quick. First, Pokemon World Champion stuff. You know, not much to say. We're not really big into that scene. Then they announced Pokemon Path to Peak, an upcoming animated web miniseries, all about the Pokemon trading card game. I'll be
I
honest,
watched
this
the
looks
first episode
terrible.
this morning. It was actually cute.
Oh, did you? Oh, was it?
It was
Okay, cool.
it's obviously made for like a younger audience and trying to sell the TCG, but for what it is, it's cute. It's only like 5-8 minutes long. It's apparently
okay.
going to be a couple. It's going to be a couple episodes.
Yeah, because I mean, I looked at a bit of it. And I was like, ooh, this doesn't look too hot. But I mean, if you say it's like
it's fun.
it's
It's
a
fine.
kids show. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then moving on, we got a trailer for Pokemon Detective Pikachu Returns.
Yeah.
Can you believe this game's coming out in October?
They announced this game, forgot about it, and now it's here. And yeah,
It's here,
Can you
all
believe-
right.
Can you believe this game
is-
has no shadows?
I can believe
you
it.
believe this game is on like Switch in 2023? It looks like a 3DS game.
I swear they
Just
made it
don't-
on the 3DS, forgot about it, and then they dug it out of the pile. Like, oh wait, we forgot to release this. Put it on the
They
Switch.
announced it. They announced it. I remember they announced it in 2019 during the Pokemon presentation, the live presentation. It was one of the funniest press conferences of all time. I highly recommend watching
Yeah,
it.
because they announced Pokemon Sleep. They announced Pokemon Detective Pikachu 2. They also announced a Switch port of the original Detective Pikachu, which still hasn't happened.
You mean to tell me
Pretty sure-
all that
Really?
stuff took 4 years? By the way, like, isn't that weird to think about?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, they had the opportunity with the movie with Ryan Reynolds, which people did enjoy, and they could have
Oh yeah,
gone off that way, but yeah.
it's just a weird thing with me. It's like, where's the Switch port of the first game? Like, that's such a weird
That
thing.
thing
All by
silent.
itself.
That thing silently died in the night.
It's
Like,
crazy
I
that
don't even know.
Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is going to come out for the Switch before that.
Dude, oh my god, I forgot about that.
At least people like Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, and both of those are coming out before we get our goddamn Kid Icarus port. So just life is unfair.
Kid
Man,
Icarus.
Kid Icarus on Switch would go hard.
That would, dude. The only problem with that game was the controls. Literally fix the controls, and you have an easy top 10 of all time.
Which is probably easy to do on the Switch because you have the dual 2 sticks, unlike what the 3DS had.
They just have to clean it up. Like, it's just it would take like a month. I don't know how game development works, but I feel like it wouldn't take that many resources to make a Kid Icarus port. That's all people want.
Well,
Man,
Wolf, you see,
Nintendo-
there's no 2 screens on the Switch,
you're
so
right.
it doesn't
You're
work
right.
like
They
that,
can't do it.
right? But the
Hey
Switch
man,
2,
maybe the
though,
Switch 2. The dual screen Switch 2. Oh, dude, I'd kill for that. Moving on, Moon, I'm gonna need your help with this one. Pokemon Horizons. This is the anime that
This is the
isn't
new
starring Ash Ketchum.
Yeah, this is the new anime series that doesn't have Ash anymore. I've watched like only the first 4 episodes or something like that. And it's cool because it's a new concept on Pokemon. It's not just follow trainer, go defeat gym badges anymore. It's, at least from what I could tell from the first 4 episodes, there's like these kid characters get wrapped up in this like world traveling adventure trying to solve some mystery that this girl has, because of course Pokemon anime, there's this mysterious locket that the main character has because she's the main character, and they got to
Of
solve the
course.
mystery of that. But it's cute, and I've been meaning to watch some more episodes, but there's been other things occupying my time. But I think the presents was just talking about the English version, because I think the English version just started not too long ago. But I think it's
That's
just kind of a reminder to be like, hey, this show exists. I know it
Yeah.
doesn't have Ash, but please watch it.
Yeah, they say Ash's final episodes will be on September 8th, 2023.
Okay, so they haven't launched the rest of the finale yet. Okay.
Okay.
quick question.
Mhm.
Where
Go for it.
where do you watch new Pokemon episodes?
Netflix has them in the US.
Okay, so do they
Oh,
come out like just a season at a time kind of a thing?
Yeah, it's like batches. They break them into like just batches of episodes, and I think the last batch of like 12 or so is like what they call Ash's final journey. And so they're releasing all that all at once. I think it's like 11 or 12 episodes, and that's like the last bit that's going to get released.
Gotcha.
Moving on, we got some Pokemon Go stuff. Pokemon Go Global Fest, 26th of August to 27th. Not much to say there. We're not really Pokemon Go heads, I don't think. They're adding Pokemon Unite, some stuff.
More
Do you know what
characters.
happened there? More characters.
They're
Okay, cool.
they're adding Mewtwo as a playable character, and that's, I think, Mew as well. They're like double booking Mew and Mewtwo as new playable characters. That game has like a lot of playable characters now. This game's been going on a lot longer than I thought it would. So kudos to
Yeah.
them for having a success.
You honestly weren't joking about a lot of this mobile stuff because next was Masters EX, which was I remember one of the funniest things on Twitter when they announced it. They put the hashtag Pokemon Masters EX with no space.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could put the 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No,
they announced
the other, Nimona.
ahead.
I was just about to say, it's the funniest thing. Nimona has come to master Pokemon Masters X, and you see the characters in game, and it's this is probably the neatest thing about this game. And I wish I played it, but it's mobile, and I just can't get into that. Because you see all the characters from all generations all interacting in one location. But it is funny because these canonical heights of these characters do not match up at all, especially like newer characters like Nimona, who probably have more accurate child sizes compared to older generation characters who they make kind of short and stubby. So you have Nimona, who is like probably your average size 16-year-old girl, and she's like towering over the supposed like older protagonists from Black and White. She is like a
that's why
full
she's
like
the best.
she's like a full head over them. It's so funny to see them side by side.
She's with Palmont, which is a weird combo, but hey, you know what? Live and learn.
Got to
I'm gonna move through these next ones a bit quicker. Pokemon Cafe Remix, not much to say there.
no, it's a match game.
And then Pokemon Trading Card Game and Pokemon Stadium 2 are on NSO. Finally, I love the trading card game on a Game Boy. That game is awesome. And Pokemon Stadium 2, one of my favorite N64 games. So that's just a big W. Moving on. Pokemon Sleep Update. Not much to say there. Good Sleep Day event is coming to Pokemon Sleep.
I slept.
Hell yeah. And then Paldean Win, which is another web series, it seems like. Again, not much to say there.
Yeah, it seems to be following what they did with Legends Arceus with the Hisui and Snow thing. So it's cool that we get more of these animated shorts because they tend to be some of the best Pokemon content that they're putting out. Because, well, I don't know, maybe the new anime is better because they're doing something different, but these animated shorts always tend to be pretty good. They're like these separate entities.
And then we get into Scarlet and Violet finally. Apparently, Mew and Mewtwo will be obtainable through Terra Braids. That's cool, but the actual thing is going to be about the DLC. The first part of the DLC, which is the Teal Mask, is coming 13th of September. Moon, did they reveal anything about this?
They kind of showed off the new Pokemon, the new like main characters that you'll interact with, and one of them the internet's already thirsting over for, and the usual stuff. That's per usual when we get new Pokemon characters. There's a hint that there might be some kind of Legends Arceus connection that's being speculated on, but nothing concrete yet. But it just looks, like it's much like the DLC for Sword and Shield, where it's this contained side story. So it's going to be really focused. So it seems like Game Freak knows how to do these focused, smaller stories. It's just when they had to make a big campaign of Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet, they seem to trip over themselves. So it'll be interesting to see like how well this does. And it looks interesting. It's new Pokemon, so it's going to follow all that good stuff at least.
All right. Well, I guess it's the Pokemon Presents, though. Overall disappointing. I think we can all agree.
Yeah, it was to be expected.
Yeah, to be expected. Disappointing. Moving on, we got one more presentation, the THQ Nordic showcase, which I'll be completely honest, as someone who pays attention to gaming news all the time, I had no idea this was going on.
Me either.
I just saw a bunch of announcements and I was like, where did these come from? And then it's like, oh, THQ Nordic showcase. Okay. But I checked out a bit of it, some of the cool reveals and stuff. Did you watch the presentation? Did anyone watch the presentation? Actually?
Not live.
Not live. But you did watch the actual full presentation.
I watched it, and then as soon as I got like halfway through it, I kind of started skipping if it didn't interest me.
Okay, so
just fast forwarding through stuff. Yeah, most of it.
Okay, cool. I guess just like any thoughts on the presentation overall?
Not really. I mean, that rec creation was kind of neat, but I don't have the creative power for making my own tracks. I wish I could play that game without actually having to buy it. TMNT looks cool, but that thing is like 2, 3, 4 years away, so I can't get too excited about it.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's like there was like two big announcements. I feel like in this presentation, it's like they showed a bit more on Alone in the Dark, which is cool. But like I feel like the two big things were the Rise of the Ronin info and the new South Park game.
Yeah, which I'm not interested in because it seems to be some online multiplayer game.
Yeah, I need to talk about this. Okay, so South Park Snow Day is the new 3D co-op multiplayer game. But I tell you guys, man, I was like, I saw the headline, new South Park game, and I got so excited. I love South Park: The Stick of Truth, and I never got around to Fractured Butthole, but Stick of Truth was
Fractured
amazing.
Butthole's really good. It's funny enough, it's actually what got me into tactical games.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
same. I loved both of them. They're both very fun games. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I really want to get to Fractured Butthole, but like I loved Stick of Truth. That game was such an incredible time. It was like the obvious thing, the whole joke about like it really makes you feel like Batman. It really makes you feel like Spider-Man. The whole obvious joke with Stick of Truth reviews, every review just said it's like you're in an episode of South Park, but like it really did feel like you were on an episode of South Park, and I really love that game. So to see that they're like, man, this amazing license, let's make a multiplayer game. I swear, I am so fucking sick of multiplayer games. I am so tired of this shit. Jad, do you have any thoughts?
Well, yeah, no, like because I didn't also know about this showcase, and I remember they like hinted at a South Park game at a THQ Nordic show. I think some months ago. I can't remember when that was,
Yeah, I think it was
but
like the last one that they did was a couple months ago.
yeah. Oh yeah, right. They just ended with the South Park logo, but with this one, man, like I really wish like Ubisoft was developing a South Park game instead,
The
like just
one
so we
time
can
we
get
wish for Ubisoft.
Dude, that's
yeah.
the one time I'm like, oh man, I wish. And the game itself it just doesn't look good. Like it's
I
like
need to see like
you
actual game. Like, what kind of multiplayer is this? Because it almost looks like whatever Diablo is. It looks like a top-down kind of actiony kind of game, like a strategic actiony game almost. But we need to see like actual gameplay of this.
that's
What
the
it looks
thing though. We
like?
don't. Go ahead, Saber.
Sorry, yeah. So it reminds me of those Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare games or
Oh
whatever,
yeah.
but a little
Oh
more
yeah.
top down. That's what it reminds me of.
Okay. If it's that, I could maybe get into it a little bit, but I don't. Give me another
I mean,
Fractured Butthole. Give me another Stick of Truth.
that's the thing. It could be good, but it's like we just want another Stick of Truth. We want another Fractured Butthole. That which out of context that is funny, but
We are
still like
we are gonna clip that and make it a YouTube short. Give us more Fractured Butthole.
like I don't know. It's just a weird decision to go. Wow, people really love these RPG South Park games. Let's make a multiplayer shooter. Like if I see multiplayer co-op shooter, all these stupid fucking phrases one more time, I'm gonna lose it. I am so
Yeah,
sick of multiplayer
I don't
games.
think it's a shooter. I think it's like um it's some kind of like
Oh, is it?
top-down action. It's some kind of like top-down actiony tactical game, at least from the little bit that we saw. But there was no UI or anything, so it's hard to tell like if it's made for just the trailer or if it's the actual game. It seems to be a little bit of a top-down, and you probably are running around a map doing stuff because you saw bases, you saw like contraptions. So it almost looks like some kind of like strategy game. I wouldn't be surprised if this was like some team versus team game of capture the flag or do this objective or something like that. Oh god, it's Overwatch.
Yeah, but yeah, South Park that does not look good. But something that does well not look good, but sounds good is the TMNT The Last Ronin. Okami Games actually did kind of a cool little write up of like what we know about this game at the moment over on Twitter. TMNT The Last Ronin, officially announced by THQ Nordic, set in a futuristic, war ravaged NYC, darker tone, aimed at an older and more mature audience, based on a limited run graphic novel series, Only One Ninja Turtle Still Alive. Senior VP of Paramount compared it to big ARPGs like God of War, coming exclusively to current gen, PS5 Series X PC, developed by Black Forest Games, who did Destroy All Humans, and then likely still a few years off.
Yeah.
I mean, this does sound really cool. But like Moon said, though, likely a few years off. It's hard to be excited. Dark, you have opinions on this game. Do you have any thoughts?
Thinking back on, because I
He's
did
waking
read
up.
No, I
Okay,
wasn't
he's
asleep.
back.
I was just thinking back. Yeah. Well, my mic wasn't picking for whatever reason, but
Oh, okay.
I did read the entire run when it first came out. It's not a long story whatsoever, so a lot of like I'm starting to think
Spoilers.
this might be like a. It's not really spoilers, but I'm starting to think that this might be like a Devil May Cry mission based, just because of how short the story is. Unless they drag it out, but that would kind of be like defeating the purpose of the story that they're telling, which is a really good story. It is very adult. If they can nail it, it would be really good. I would like to see them do other, because there's a bunch of other comics that have these short run stories that are very solid. If this can become like a little series for them, that'd be amazing.
Yeah,
That's
that'd be
about it
cool.
though.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It's like we just that's about it. Like we don't really know much else on the game. Did anyone else have thoughts on this game?
I found out like who the lone Ninja Turtle is. And it's kind of surprising. I don't know if anyone wants that spoiler.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not. I mean, they tell you early on, but it's. Don't spoil it.
Is that part of the story? Like you don't know exactly which turtle it is. Who's the last surviving?
You don't
The whole
know.
point
You
is
don't
that
know
you
which
don't know who it
turtle.
is.
No, you find out like the second issue. It's the first issue is a big mystery, and it's kind of like hyping it up, and then you find out, and you're like, oh.
I will say it's not
Yeah,
the one
The
I
way that
expected.
the way that the
Yeah.
story works is that after you find out, because it's kind of like you're kind of just thrown in, you don't really know what's going on. After you find out who the surviving turtle is, it's gonna be you learning what happened to the other turtles and how they fell and how like the situation became
Gotcha.
what it is.
It's
It is a
gonna be
very dark story too.
depressing.
Like
I
if
kind of
you
want to
use
read
the
it now.
TMNT, is very different. It was made by the original creators of the turtles as like the final hurrah. Yeah, so it's a good read. I
Yeah,
recommend
because
it.
the original Turtle Run is like super violent and not kid friendly.
Yeah, it's the same people that made it.
Kind of want to read it. I saw it was like on
yeah.
sale for like $18.
You're Mr. Licensed Games. What about you?
Oh yes, licensed games. So here's the thing. I think it's a pretty bold fucking claim to say that it's gonna be like God of War, making your game comparison to that. So I'm excited in
Oh
a few
man,
years when this game
I
is
love
out.
spicy chat.
Yeah, it's either gonna be like a decent game or it's gonna be garbage. I don't see any other way.
It's just I don't know. Like it's this is gonna make me sound like such a dumbass. I'm sorry. I don't like the dark direction for Ninja Turtles. Maybe it's because I
It
grew up with
works.
Ninja Turtles, like with the the classic cartoons and whatnot. But it's like I don't know. I don't want to see them all murdery and shit. I want to see like Shredder and stuff. I don't know. It's a little. I'm not a big fan of like the tone, at least in terms of like Ninja Turtles. But like I'm down if it's like Devil May Cry, like Dark says.
I mean, that's how I see it, like, because it is a very short story. The way that I see them doing it, unless they do something completely different, is that they break it down into mission based, and each mission is just like this mission be about how this turtle died or how this turtle died, and then eventually to the end.
Definitely not going to be as long as like a Ragnarok, but I'm guessing when they compare it to God of War, they're probably saying like the combat is probably going to be similar to God of War. That's what I got from it. That the combat is going to be this slow, methodical, actiony RPG kind of thing, instead of like hack and
Maybe
slash
it's
God of War.
maybe it's like behind the camera God of War style.
It's going to be behind the camera, third person, swinging around his weapons kind of thing, because they don't want you to go in expecting like a Sekiro or something because it's ninja. You're not going to be a fast-paced turtle.
If it was.
I
If it was though.
I bet
I mean,
you
you
this
never
isn't
know.
going to be a fast pace. It doesn't seem like it. Like this is
It
going to
depends on
be
what they do.
especially because they came out and said God of War. If they're comparing it to God of War, it's going to be slow Kratos walking,
I mean, did they
swinging
say
around
what
his
God of
battle
War?
axe kind of action.
Because it can be a mixture of
Yeah,
both.
I think they called out.
I'll
I
tell
think they
you right
said
now. They said God of War. I think they mean the modern God of Wars, but I'll tell you right now why they said God of
It can
Wars,
be
because they're like,
both.
what's the biggest action RPG franchise? It's
Thank
God of
you.
War. Yeah, like the popular ones.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think they just said God of War because that's what people recognize nowadays. And after the whole Final Fantasy 16 marketing cycle where they were like, oh, this is like God of War, and people talked about it to death. I think that's what they want for this game right now. So, and I mean, we're talking about it, so I guess it's working. But I don't
Wasn't the
expect it
Final
to
Fantasy
be.
16? I'm a bad
What was
again.
that?
Let's say, wasn't the Final Fantasy 16 like cycle them referencing it being like Devil May Cry?
Yeah.
No, yeah, they said Devil May Cry and like old school God of War, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
well,
Yeah,
but
my
they did
bad.
talk about God of War too, did they not? I
Yeah,
remember like
old,
some
yeah,
Dead
old school
Diaries or
God of
something
War.
like that.
I think it was like something like old school God of War.
Gotcha.
But maybe they mentioned new God of War. I'm not 100%. But yeah, I mean, just overall, I'm still on the side. I'm with Moon, where it's like it's hard to be excited over something that's years away. But I hope it's good. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I'll just say,
Everybody just go
yeah,
read the story.
I look forward to the trailer. I kind of want to now.
Moving on. Speaking of TMNT, the TMNT X Street Fighter 6 collab was announced coming August 8th. So, but already
out.
released. Yeah. I need you guys to go over this because I do not play Street Fighter.
So,
I can.
do it, Doc. You want to take this?
Oh, you can handle it. You already started.
Well, so the basic, it's not that much. It's costumes, it's cosmetics, but the thing that's getting most people talking about it is the fact that you have to buy each turtle separately, and if you buy all four turtles, if you buy all four turtles, it's literally it's doubling your price of the game. It's another $60 to get all four turtles, to get all their cosmetics. So that's what's kind of everyone's talking about. Not so much. I mean, the costumes look cool for costumes, and all the cosmetics are cool, but everyone's talking about, good God, we're doubling the price already of our game with this. If you want all four turtles,
I've seen the like the Injustice 2, which has the turtles, like the game with the
$10.
DLC. Yeah, $10.
and you got
For
and
all
they're
the
actual
turtles.
characters, and they're actual characters with their own move sets. Unlike this, where it's just costumes for your avatar, for your playable make a character.
I mean, I feel like this is a whole discussion. It's like, man, it feels like there's a lot of turtles stuff in gaming.
There is
as of
suddenly a
late.
lot of turtles everywhere.
And like, guys, I love the turtles, but not this much. I mean, I've been a fan of the original cartoons.
I don't know
and
if
stuff,
it's planned, but it's just like, yeah, it's like you get the new turtle movie, you got this crossover. We now have, granted, we kind of knew about the Last Ronin a little bit earlier, but now it's like officially announced. So
yeah,
I don't
but
know
like
if it's
a little earlier,
coincidence.
as in like earlier the year, like around the
Yeah.
same time as like the beat 'em up game, even. So like, it's weird. There's so much turtle stuff recently.
So it just makes me think like, okay, so we're gonna get all these turtles all at once, and now it's gonna be like a couple of years until we see the turtles again, either for the sequel movie or for the Last Ronin. So we're just getting hit with a turtle bonanza, and then it's gonna go
Batches.
quiet again.
Exactly. Yeah.
The big issue with the whole thing is when you start looking at the prices of, because like Moon said, these costumes were just for the, like, you make a character, which is kind of like a hodgepodge of you take other people's attacks and stuff, you make your own stuff. The season pass is cheaper than all of this content, which comes with like 4 to 5 brand new, for the most part, brand new characters with entire movesets, ultimates, and everything else. Yet these costumes are like stupidly expensive. I'm actually glad that there's such a big uproar against it, because I don't think we should be seeing stuff like this in games.
You know,
Yeah.
you know how much money people would have paid for a Cammy skin, like an April O'Neil Cammy skin.
They should have done that. I'm not sure why they did it.
They should have done that. It's just weird. Like, why? I don't. People don't care about the create a character. Like, when will these fighting games learn? It's like, it's not that cool to create your own character.
So yeah, it kind of started lighting the fire under the ass of like, okay, like we're okay with microtransactions and cosmetics, but these pricings are getting out of hand. So it'll be interesting to see if more content, like, because they also announced along with this like DLC costumes for all the regular cast, and I don't think we got a price on those yet. So it'll be interesting to see, is this just Street Fighter specific, like they're overcharging their costumes, or is this just some bad new norm that we're going to have to try to nip in the butt, be like, no, we're not paying this exuberant amount of money for costumes.
Moving on. We got some Square Enix news. Square Enix share price drops amid claims Final Fantasy 16 didn't meet, quote, high-end, end quote, expectations. This comes from Chris Scullion over at VGC. The publisher reported its Q2 2023 earnings on Friday, during which it stated that revenue had increased around 14% year on year, but profits had dropped around 65%. When the Tokyo Stock Exchange closed on Friday, Square Enix's share price sat at 6,366 yen. When it opened earlier today, however, the price had dropped to 5,566 yen and stayed around this figure throughout the day, dropping 5,457 at one point. This is the lowest the company's share price has been since May 2022, and according to Bloomberg, its worst intraday drop in 3 years. Bloomberg also claims that one of the reasons for Square Enix's underwhelming financials is the launch of Final Fantasy XVI. President Takashi Kiryu says that the game's initial sales, in Bloomberg's words, did not meet the high end of the company's expectations. Kiryu also reportedly said that the slow adoption of the PS5 was also a limiting factor in Final Fantasy XVI sales, and that the end of the hardware shortages should open up opportunities to boost software sales. Okay, I got a lot to say about this, as you guys could tell from me constantly laughing. Me and Dark gotta take this over, so anyone else want to say their piece before we rant?
Yes, I just have a few thoughts. I just find it really funny that a couple weeks ago, they said they were extremely happy with the sales of Final Fantasy 16. If it wasn't like an official statement, someone higher up in the company said that, and now the truth comes out. So I just find it funny. But take it away.
Okay, you mean to tell me that your expectations? What are your fucking expectations? There are like what, like 30 million PS5s, if even, out there in the wild. You had one of the biggest launches for a PS5 exclusive, and you're still haven't sold enough. Why the fuck did you only release it on PlayStation then? You couldn't release your PC version day and date. It just had to come out on PlayStation day, and then you want to sit here and cite low fucking sales? What are your goddamn expectations, Square? Why do you put such high expectations on everything? Keep it realistic, because at this point, I feel like your expectations are a bit much at this point. Go ahead, Dark.
Like Cyber said, they came out like I think it wasn't even like 2 weeks ago. It was like not even that long ago. They said that this game met their expectations. Now they're backpedaling super hard. I don't understand why they continue making these exclusivity deals. Look, your company just doesn't work with exclusivity deals. The only one who's profiting from these deals is Sony. Like they don't give two shits about if Square Enix is doing okay or not. They just want those games. And I think
it's they said the same thing about FF7 remake. No, it's like FF7 remake. They said the exact same thing, that it didn't hit their expectations because you launched it exclusively. I'm all for exclusivity up until like certain amounts. When a game like FF7 remake, why wasn't that on Xbox and PC? Like what reason was it not? Like a God of War, that's understandable. That's your IP. But Square, what do you gain? I get that they use the PS5 architecture, like they said that claim and everything, but they have a PC version. Why not launch it day and date? It just doesn't make sense to me. Continue, Dark, though. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Part of me feels like, because Sony has, I don't know how to explain it. Sony has like this reputation of like they always have when exclusive comes out for Sony, it's like this big deal, right? And I feel like Square is kind of getting caught up in that hype. But the thing is, you're not Sony. You're the ones that they're using. You're in a position where you cannot do exclusive. It's not working for you, obviously. You've been doing this for years. It doesn't work. And I think that the new president or CEO, I think he realizes this, and I think that's a big reason, on top of Phil, why Final Fantasy 14 and like other future games are going to be coming to Xbox now, because they just can't afford to be doing this anymore. You're not in a position to do it, and it just doesn't make sense. You're dividing your fan base and all this. If I was them, and it seemed like this is the direction that they're taking, just copy what Capcom's doing. They were in a similar situation, and they 180'd, and they're doing better than ever for the most part. So just do that.
You ever think about like how Street Fighter V was exclusive to PlayStation at launch? Like that's a weird thing to think about. And,
Not even at
like,
launch. It never went anywhere else. Oh wait, it did go to PC, right? But yeah, it never left.
Went to PC, but still.
But
it was. You want to know what's even wilder than that? I'm never cutting you off.
No.
Capcom was on the brink of like bankruptcy.
Like they needed that exclusivity deal. That's the problem, because it was like, oh well, we need some money.
It was necessity.
Yeah. I just
So-
I don't understand. Like that's the thing. It's like it doesn't make sense why they're making these deals because it's not like Square Enix is on the edge of bankruptcy. But, sorry,
problem-
dude, I cut you off.
I was just going to say,
Okay.
question: do we get a PlayStation 4 version sometime down the line?
Nah,
I don't know about
It's
PlayStation
too-
4, but I think you might see Xbox.
Xbox is a possibility. I mean, the PC version is coming. Wait, they said 6 months, right, for the PC version?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the way that it works though, it's 6 months until they can make a PC version.
No,
Because
no,
they
no,
did
no.
the same thing with Final
So?
Fantasy 7.
No,
and
no,
the
not,
sorry.
not
time went
quite.
up at the... What do you mean?
Oh, Cyber, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. So development can start anytime, right? Because well, speaking as a developer, the base code that you have is shared amongst all platforms. You don't what they're not going to do is talk about the release cycle or the marketing for that platform. But every game
That's
that
it,
comes out for these consoles, they are already PC games natively because they're developed on PC and they are run on PC when you're testing. So the PC version is already up. They may say that they, did the power of the PS5 or whatever marketing jibby jabbies they're talking about, but yeah, the PC version is done. They're just waiting to talk about it.
Yeah, so
I
like they
don't know
can
about
like
that.
the game is probably already finished on PC. They just can't talk about it right now.
Yeah,
they
that's
can't
most,
say
most likely.
what
It's
they're
just
doing.
they're like under contract.
Just
That was what
keep in
happened
mind,
with FF7.
the thing with FF7 Remake is that the contract ended, and we didn't see the PC release until like a year and a half afterwards. If that's the case,
they
and
just
it's
forgot.
following the same thing, there's no way they forgot. FF7 is like their biggest IP.
Okay, but that'd be funny to think about.
FF7. To be honest, I
That'd
wouldn't
be
even be
funny to
surprised.
think
That's a
about.
Square
It's just
Enix has
on
move.
a random ass computer in the office says as FF7 remake port on PC, and then someone just like looks around the office, is like, "Hey guys, did we ever release this?" It's like, "Oh shit, oh fuck, Jeff, you can have it." Jeff's like,
We
"Oh,
forgot to
yay."
hit the switch.
What I
Oh,
think is going
we-
to happen. Oh my bad for cutting you off. You can go.
No, yeah, just real quick before you go forward. I just think that maybe what happened with 7 Remake was Sony renewed the contract, right, for the exclusivity. We saw that on the Apple v Epic trials a while back, where they could renew exclusivity contracts without disclosing it to the public, kind of a thing. So I think that's what happened there. But yeah, go ahead. You're saying what's going to happen next?
Yeah, so another thing with Square, it came out that for Final Fantasy 16 in particular, Square was making Xbox and Sony bid for it, as if they're like in a position of power. You clearly aren't. You're fucking struggling against it. I don't know why they're doing this. But what I think is gonna happen.
I
That's
mean,
what they
at
were
the
doing. They're
same
like,
time,
whoever pays the most, you're gonna get it.
I love this company, man. It's so stupid.
I mean, you
But,
can't really blame them at the same time because even though Square Enix is personally saying, yeah, it's not meeting our expectation, it's still sold a fuck ton. So Xbox and Microsoft are probably going to do the exact same thing again next time with Final Fantasy 17. They're going to be like, okay, you saw how many numbers you got, like, who wants exclusivity this time? Even though they're, at least from what they're officially saying, like, yeah, it didn't meet our expectations. Like, I'm still
think
pretty
that's
sure they're
gonna
going to at
happen.
least they're still going to do it unless it really nips them in the butt, saying, okay, now we're actually hurting financially from doing these exclusivity things. Like, they're going to continue to do it because they're like, we're going to get this nice chunk of money from Sony or Xbox because they want that exclusive, like, we have Final Fantasy 17 kind of thing.
I don't think so anymore. If you would have told me this a month ago, I would have been in full agreement. But you have to keep in mind what happened during the Final Fantasy 14 showcase, where they made that new deal with Xbox. It seems like they go in the multi-platform route, which is what they should be doing. They did it with 15, and despite the issues that game had, it sold well.
Yeah,
This is what
I'm
they
pretty sure.
should be doing.
Yeah, this is definitely a different Square now with Xbox because of what happened with 14. So you are right, that is different now.
And the thing
One
is,
of the biggest
Xbox
things
is not going
they
to
said
solve
is,
all your issues either. It's just going to help make deals and put your fucking games everywhere until you can balance yourself out. But yeah.
Mhm. No, I mean that's what I was like about to like allude to. Like I remember one of the big things they cited with FF15, and they very much were like anti Xbox for so long because they were just like, yeah, with FF15, our lowest platform sales wise was Xbox One, but it was also like, well, Xbox One has less consoles than PS4, so of course it's gonna sell less on Xbox than it was on PlayStation because also Xbox is not really a thing in Japan, and that's where a lot of their user base comes from. And that actually comes into another thing in general with the reason FF16 sales were so low. A lot of Japanese fans of Final Fantasy were very like, I guess, caught off guard. They weren't happy with the new direction of Final Fantasy 16, where let's just be honest. I'm just gonna be. It's not an RPG. It's just an action game now, and a lot of them were extremely upset about that. And so, like, Japan sales were very low for FF16 in comparison to like, Western sales. But yeah, do we have any more thoughts on this? Go ahead, Doc.
I just think that this year's gonna end. And you won't hear anything. You might hear some. I know there's rumblings that like 16 is gonna get DLC. If that happens or not, I don't know. I think next year during E3 they're gonna announce the PC version, potentially Xbox, and then from there on it's just gonna be a completely different Square Enix with the new president. I think that this game is probably like the last of like old Square, hopefully. Hopefully with like a lot of like hope in behind it. But whatchamacallit? I think there's nothing wrong if you were to give Sony like marketing rights. You just gotta cut it out. The exclusivity isn't that working for you, bro? Either that or tell us what your expectations are so we can know what the fuck you're trying to reach.
What are their expectations? I just want to know because they remind me of my parents with how fucking high their expectations are.
It's almost like
the 90.
what I'm getting
really.
vibes. What I'm getting vibes of is it's not doing Final Fantasy 14 numbers basically, and it's kind of in the same vein of what we always hear about Netflix. Like if their new Netflix show doesn't do Stranger Things numbers, they're going to call it a disappointment.
That's like it doesn't work that way. Different properties sell different amounts.
Yeah.
So like I don't know why they're so like gung ho about like, well, it's got to sell as well as FF14. No, it's a different like FF14's an MMO. You can't really compare those two.
So that's just what it feels like. It's they want everything to be as good as their best selling product.
Exactly.
They just wanted to sell like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That's how they want.
Nothing sells like that, except Red Dead Redemption, apparently.
Okay, GTA 5 then. That's what they want. Okay.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not
that's
that's very realistic.
GTA 5 if it was exclusive to one console.
I mean, if it was exclusive to one console, like it would somehow still sell the same amount. That's how big GTA is.
Can you remember that rumor? Not even a rumor, but just like that shit post that was going around of GTA 6 being a PlayStation exclusive.
I cannot believe that was an
People
actual
are on crack.
There is no way. I do not know what that was about.
That was just
At
people
most.
just trying to make headlines.
At most, I can see Sony having marketing rights, but they seem to be having marketing rights with GTA now. Other than that, there's no way the game's going exclusive.
Yeah, like maybe with the PlayStation version, you get this new car. Like that's at most the exclusive.
You get 100,000 up front on day one for GTA 6 Online, or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
And now I want to play GTA 5. All right, you guys.
It's on Game Pass, by the way.
Talk about GTA. I'll play it on a real platform. I'm kidding.
Phil's gonna take your Xbox away.
Exactly.
Moving
you have a
on.
Roadkey account, bro?
Moving on. Moving on. We got a Devolver Digital Showcase, as they called it, the Devolver Delayed, where they announced what games will be coming out and what games are like coming out in 2023 still, and what games will be delayed. This comes from Devolver Digital over on Twitter. Thanks for watching Devolver Delayed, a recap for those who don't have the attention span for a 3-minute showcase. Or I'll add an addendum, or those hosting a podcast. Thank you, Devolver. Still 2023, the Talos Principle 2, Gunbrella, Karmazoo, the Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood, and Wizard with a Gun. And then moving to 2024, Pepper Grinder, Angerfoot, Skate Story, Stick It to the Stick Man, and then the real sad one, the Plucky Squire. I guess I'll let you guys take it away on this. Plucky Squire is really the only one I was really looking forward to, so that's going to be sad to watch.
Yeah. Plucky Squire is definitely the highlight of all these titles for me. Pepper Grinder seemed cool. Angerfoot seems interesting, but Angerfoot is only confirmed for PC right now, so then that makes me not care. But besides that, yeah, it's. I hear some people excited for Skate's story, but I don't care about Skate's story. But just give me Plucky Squire. Come on, man. Anyone else?
Yeah, for me, I think usually I don't really care for Devolver games until they come out, and then I see people playing them. I'm like, okay, this seems like a cool indie game that I can get behind, and I usually do get behind them, and I usually do enjoy them. So when they come out, I'll get excited. Now, okay, I can wait.
Yeah.
I want to say, I love how short the showcase is. Give me more showcases at this. Like, I don't want to be sitting there for like 3 hours watching a showcase. 3 whole minutes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I like more bite-sized, like, short showcases that, like, rather than, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still love, like, 35, 40-minute Nintendo Directs, but there's only 2 or 3 things I'm hyped for usually in those.
I don't have any other.
Like I'm watching the 3-minute direct right now. It's like Anchorfit still looks cool, but why is it only on PC? Come on, guys. Yeah, Pepper Grinder looks kind of neat. I'm on the Twitter page right now that was linked in our thing, and it's all the games look interesting. Like Cyber said, all the Devolver digital games always look interesting, but they're not like games you get super hyped for. But they're just neat and they're fun when they come out.
Pardon?
So anyone else have anything else to say about Devolver before we move on?
Part of me wonders if like other studios will like start following this approach. There's a certain indie game studio which has a massive title that's highly anticipated, which I do not see coming out this year. And it'll be hilarious if they do a showcase announcing its delay.
Okay. Listen, I believe. I still think we all know what you're talking about. I don't want to name it for Fusion's sake, but I think it'll come out. Which, by the way,
just not this year.
Listen, real quick, I just want to say this: Fusion is like the #1 like hype man for that game, who shall not be named. This man acts like he's been there since the trenches. I played that game way before him, and he wants to sit here and act like he's the #1 fan of that game. All right, I'm just saying. But either way, it's that game's gonna come out this year, I believe. All right.
So you're saying it's gonna be the next golf story then, or soccer story, or whatever, sports story?
Come on, man, too soon.
I mean, it's pretty similar though. You can't deny it.
Look, it's either it's gonna get delayed. It's either it's gonna get delayed until next year, or it's gonna come out and it's gonna suck. It's gonna come out this year.
It is not gonna suck. No, do not put.
There is no
that studio. Man, it's gonna be really weird for people who don't know what we're talking about. By the way.
The worst case scenario isn't even that it might suck. Is that what if it's just okay, just mediocre? After all this time.
So just like the original game.
No, okay,
well, yeah,
Moon,
we're not getting there.
That is a take.
Where is it? I know his ass never played it, by the way.
Okay, at this point, we're talking about Hollow Knight and Silksong because we're going pretty deep.
Well, you weren't supposed to say that.
Yeah, but what about the people who don't know what we're talking about?
Everyone knows what we're talking about. There is no chance in hell that Silksong is mediocre or even like bad. Okay, that game will be at the very, very least an 8 out of 10, and that is the very, very least. All right, Hollow Knight is a phenomenal game, one of the best Metroidvanias, and you mean to tell me that like I think they can. I think they could very easily make a sequel. I think Team Cherry has so many passionate developers, and it's clear with how long this game's been delayed that they clearly want it to be the best game it can possibly be. I have the utmost faith that it will be good.
Time in the oven does not necessarily equate polish, by the way.
No,
but I share the sentiment. Yeah.
No, I don't want to because like if we add that, I mean Cyberpunk, and we know my opinions on that game. But
I want this game to be good solely for Fusion's sake at this point. Because he has gone through so much cheerleading for this game.
This is what I'm talking about. He fucking sat here and now he's the #1 Hollow Knight fan in the world. I'm like, I swear to God, Fusion. He acts like he's been in the trenches longer than me. He played it this year. I would have mentioned.
Genuinely gets offended when we joke around saying he's gonna get delayed.
That's true. But yeah.
I do want to say in their tweet, I love Devolver's comedy. It says right here in the tweet, and find out what games are making the courageous move to next year. It's so brave of them.
They're so awesome. Moving on. We got some news on like the James Bond game. This comes from a friend of the show, Noble, over on Twitter. IO Interactive did not confirm that Project Fantasy, the online multiplayer, is published by Xbox. The James Bond game is well in development, and this is the big detail, will tell the story of the first James Bond. Interesting detail there. I'm gonna ask it to my licensed game aficionado, Jat. Any thoughts?
Oh, yes. So not only am I a licensed game fan, I'm also a big Hitman fan. I love the game, so
Nice.
I have full faith in IO Interactive to make you really feel like you're in the James Bond universe, and I'm so glad that they're not basing it off of like any movie or anything. Like you're not gonna
Yeah, I
see
was about
Daniel
to say
Craig.
that's my number one
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, yeah. So it's very exciting. I think we're still a little far off, but they can take it their time.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is IO. Like Hitman 3 was like pretty recent, 2021. So I doubt this one's gonna be anytime soon. But like when it comes out, I think a lot of heads are gonna turn, and a lot of people are gonna be very happy with it.
Man, 2027 is going to be lit with both Last Ronin and James Bond.
Yeah, maybe we get
Listen,
Silksong.
2027. I mean, you're being a little. Okay. We stopped talking about Silksong.
Okay, but actually talking about James Bond, the detail that this is the very first James Bond is really interesting, but there's a lot you can play with the story with that. It's very possible that this James Bond is like, he's rough around the edges. Like, he might not be like, but nowadays when you think of James Bond, you always think of like super highly trained professional
Perfect.
that always gets this. Yeah, there's a good chance that you can see him like struggle a lot until he reaches that point where he becomes like a legend that they keep passing down the name.
Well, that's why it's perfect for a video game though, because it's like
exactly.
the players are going to be fucking up all the time. So like if you fuck up, it's like, oh, James Bond, you're still new on the job. It's okay.
Also makes kind of curious, like what kind of time period this is going to be. Like, how long has the James Bond lineage been going on? So, like, how far back are we going?
Yeah, that's interesting. My prediction, I think it's going to be the 1920s, like post World War I era. Like they kind of want to play around with that era. I think that's like a good prediction because I know the first James Bond movies were like in the 50s, so that's why I wouldn't say like World War II era. I think World War I, like post World War I, is where I would say.
Bond in the trenches for real, for real.
Well, I mean, it's after World War I, so the trenches ain't gonna exist. You gotta wait 20 more years for that. Moving on. We got this interesting story. Shinobi over on Twitter kind of did this thing for us here. A portion of first-party PlayStation titles originally planned for later financial year 2023, ending March 2024, will seemingly see delays, according to Sony's financial report released today. This is a weird story. I remember when it was published, Fusion immediately said, "What games?" Because they
I wish
didn't
Fusion
have
was here for this.
I really do, man. I really do. But
yeah.
like, what are they talking about?
It's like, how many first-party Sony games do we know about? So clearly, there is probably a good chunk in development right now that are just obviously going to get very much pushed.
The first one that comes to mind is Wolverine. Oh, my bad for cutting you.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Jim Ryan saw that Nintendo Direct. He saw Mario turn into an elephant, saw that October 20th release date, and he's like, "Oh shit, we need to move our game."
Well, that's what's weird. Okay, so Spider-Man 2 is like I feel like that's locked at this point. If it was gonna get a delay, we would have been.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything that has a solid release date like a Spider-Man. I think it's.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm just trying to think of all the first-party first-party Wolverine games, first-party Sony games. We have Wolverine.
2.
We have Helldivers.
Yeah, remember Helldivers 2? That was supposed to come out this year. We still haven't heard anything on whether or not it's getting delayed. It's weird. So we have not heard a word on that game.
But we also have the Last of Us multiplayer.
Which that's not.
Yeah, it's never coming. I still don't believe that game is real.
I believe.
I can't think of any other first-party Sony
There was
games.
Wolverine. There's God. But there's the problem is there's so much like stuff from studios like Sucker Punch is working on Ghost of Tsushima too. We know this. There's been so many rumors, so much stuff on that already.
Yeah, it seems like anything that could be in development, like a Ghost of Tsushima 2, is obviously not coming out this financial year by March of next year. So, what games are they delaying? That's the question. Because clearly they are games that were supposedly supposed to come out before end of March next year, but yet now is not going to be making it.
Did they have a bunch of NFT games that they decided to cancel? What happened here?
It came out not that long ago. I forgot what it was exactly it came out, but Sony is basically making like a crap ton of like multiplayer-esque games. I forgot that. I'm not sure if it's multiplayer or something. Yeah, live service games. It's 100% some of these titles.
Alongside not Foam Stars.
Well, that's Foam Stars is
yes,
Squeenix.
keep Foam Star with.
Well, that's the thing though, is that like so many of those like live service games we saw. Is Foam Stars exclusive?
I think it's PS5 and PC. I'm going to double check right now.
It's another Square Enix over.
But like,
imagine this game reaches expectations.
Well, that's the thing, though. Dude, I mean, apparently it was pretty fun. Andy Robinson was talking really highly about it, and I trust
it is exclusive, not even PC. PS4, PS5.
Wasn't it? Oh my god.
PS4, PS5.
There it is. This is the game, bro.
PS4 games.
This is the game that's going to meet Square Enix expectations.
Finally.
Foam Stars.
I mean,
oh god, I just came up with the title for this episode.
I don't get it. What are the games? Like, what games can you delay? We don't know anything. And that we talked about it a lot about how disappointing that PlayStation showcase was, because we didn't know what Sony's future was. We just got a lot of like teases and stuff. But now now they're saying like, we gotta delay some stuff. What stuff? We don't know. I don't get it, man. Am I the only one that is this frustrated? I know Fusion is like yelling while he's on vacation right now about this news story.
He's sitting on a beach somewhere going, I don't know why, but I'm just really angry.
Man. But yeah, do you guys have any more thoughts on this news story?
I guess we just have to keep an eye on what comes out after March and just be like, was this supposed to originally come out last year?
Yeah, really.
Wait, did the report say whether it was like PlayStation games?
Sony first party.
Sony first party.
But did it say like PS5, or could it also be like PC ports that they might have planned? But
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Why is Jat smarter than us, dude? PC ports. We just forgot about as per usual.
We're not a PC friendly. We're not PC friendly here.
Fusion will be soon, and that's when he's off the podcast.
That's why you have the guests.
But no, that's actually a great point, though. I mean, what else is there that they could port? Demon Souls. That's one.
Yes.
Hasn't been ported yet.
No.
No, not yet.
No.
I will never forget.
They delayed the Bloodborne port, bro.
Stop! Don't do that. I will never forget. Do you guys remember when they released that trailer of Demon Souls, where they were like coming out on PS5 and PC, and they deleted it immediately after? It's like, what was that? We never got an explanation. It's such a weird. Video game companies are weird. I feel like that's also something you could have titled this episode. Is that, man, game companies are so weird lately.
AKA Square Enix.
Man, video games are weird.
That's why I love them, though. It's the funniest industry. I'll say that. Moving on. Final Fantasy Ever Crisis seems to be getting a date. This comes over Twitter from the Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis Twitter account. Wow, look at that. Release date announcement. Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis will be officially released on iOS and Android on September 7th, 2023. Don't forget to pre-register now. As you can tell from my site, that is a disappointing word right there. iOS and Android. Dark, you had some thoughts on this. So
this is, for full clarity, this is a true remake of the entire everything of Final Fantasy VII. So this will include the novels, the side stories, Crisis Core, what takes place after the base game itself. It is a true one-to-one remake. It's not Rebirth where like they're changing stuff around. And from what I've seen of it, it looks incredible, and there's a lot of care and stuff put into this. Why is this a mobile? Like, you need to make it so
Mobile game.
Mobile games.
I don't get it because they could have just sold it for like $50 on Switch and everyone would have bought it. Like, I mean,
What?
am I crazy to believe that?
That's gonna
Not
happen
even-
later when they want to double dip.
So
yeah,
the thing
I
with
mean, it
this is
happened to
that
be at that 15 port.
it's still a work in progress. So like they're doing it in parts. I'm not sure how far each game is, but I know they're like partially into Crisis Core and they're partially into the base game, and they revamped some things. It's entirely free. There is a gacha, but the gacha is more so for outfits and stuff. So you don't really have to pay for it. Another complaint though of the game, which I really hope gets changed, is that from when I did see the game, just a months back by the way, they had a limitation where the game will cut you off and you could not play anymore for that day.
Yeah, I heard about
And
that.
we don't know what
is
that
so
was about.
stupid.
It's not like a thing where like, oh, you have to pay more to get more tickets to keep on playing. No, the game just said, no, you gotta stop playing. Yeah, you
Go
gotta
outside,
remove
touch some grass.
that. Touch some grass for
I bet it's just a beta thing. Like maybe because they don't want too many people playing at once. Maybe something like that because they don't want the servers to get overloaded. I don't know, something like that.
You know what they want? They just want their daily active user numbers to meet their expectations.
Of course.
Oh, so they'll never
Your
will. They never will. I just are we disappointing Square Enix by not meeting their expectations? Like I feel
We
personally
are.
responsible at this point.
We're not
because
talking about them enough. We're not meeting their expectation.
It
Bro, I
feels
feel
like
all
they're
I'm
like
doing is
looking
talking
at
about
us
them.
disappointingly. Like it's just so weird to me. This company just doesn't make sense.
Square Enix hands their
I
games
don't
out to
know.
only 2 children out of the 50. Complains why they're not getting enough sales.
I want. What, like you were saying, like Evercraft. That sounds so cool, incorporating all
It
the
looks
final.
incredible too.
Yeah, and
There's
it's like
so
this
much.
cool stylized like 2D animation, and it's still turn based, right?
Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
turn-based,
Yeah.
but the way that it works is that the story's kind of like this really cool chibi art style, and it tells the story. But when you go into combat, it's more similar to Rebirth, and not Rebirth, Remake. And it's really cool how they do
Oh,
it.
thank
And
God.
it's like this tech is like you could make this to a console game, and it'll be incredible, and people will eat this up. That this is a true remake of the entire saga. Because Final Fantasy VII at this point is his own series. I swear to God, it's different from Final Fantasy at this point.
It's
I don't
such
know
a
why.
weird
It's
thing.
another
just how
Square
big-
Enix ass decision.
FF7 by itself is so massive, and so it's always a weird thing to think about with that. Like, is it weird to say the FF7 franchise? Like that you say that
No.
out loud and that's a thing?
There was an
don't get
image, I
it.
don't have it on me, where they showed like the complete saga of Final Fantasy VII, like the whole. There was like 15 entries into this, and it starts from like the books,
don't-
Crisis Core, the game itself, what takes place afterwards, the movies. There is a whole compilation of this, and they're still adding more because another thing exclusive to this game, you can learn the full origin story of Sephiroth as a kid until he becomes the person that we know today, which is something that we wanted for
Oh
a super
my
long
God.
time. So they're still adding
People
more
don't know
to it.
Sephiroth.
Listen, I'm just thinking about like I get FF7 was a very revolutionary and like sold a lot of copies. Imagine if like every revolutionary game got something like Super Mario 64. Like, where's my Super Mario 64
Here we
after
go.
Crisis? That
Yeah.
sounds fun.
I don't want to
Yeah,
be
it's
that
called
guy.
Super Mario Odyssey.
I love Final Fantasy VII. I appreciate everything is done. I think this game's overrated. Why is this game getting so much fucking attention? There is other games you could be doing this for. But it's
There's
still
so
a
many
cool
other
idea that
Final
they're doing this.
Fantasy.
But it's not Final Fantasy VII.
Chrono Trigger. Like everyone
Yeah.
likes Chrono Trigger, but you couldn't do a remake. I don't know.
It's still the funniest shit to me that like okay, for Smash Brothers like Wii U they added Cloud, and then in Ultimate they of course brought everyone back, and they were thinking what's second Final Fantasy character to bring? Sephiroth.
Sephiroth.
Dude, I
gotta
could
milk
not
Sephiroth.
believe that. Because like I want you all to know, on the one hand, when I watched that trailer, I was like, man, another Final Fantasy VII, like another Final Fantasy character, let alone another FF7 character. On the other hand, I was like, yo, Sephiroth, he's so cool.
That's why Final Fantasy VII is getting the love that it is. There's just something about like
He's so
Cloud
cool,
and
man.
Sephiroth, and they just get with people.
People
Like
love those
Iconic characters
characters.
at this point. Even though
they're more mainstream than any other Final Fantasy character. Like you show the random person any Final Fantasy character, they're more likely going to pick out Cloud and Sephiroth.
Exactly.
So get this with
They're
the
better
game.
than
I didn't mention. I didn't really go in. Don't you fucking start. But some of the outfits in the beta, they had like Cloud had like a super cool samurai outfit. Aerith had like this princess dress. They're getting really creative with the outfits. You might see like the Kingdom Hearts Cloud outfit if they bring that out. That shit's fucking good.
Oh,
Like
Oh
there's
yeah,
so
that
much you
was
can
cool.
do with these characters.
Disney might own that
If-
costume though.
That is a very good. Wait, no, because the contract of that specifically says that
They own the
Square
Disney
Enix
stuff.
owns the Final Fantasy characters and stuff. Disney owns everything else. Very weird deal to
Yeah.
make. But
Wait,
anyways,
so does Disney
I
own
want this
Sora?
to succeed. Yeah, they do.
Oh yeah, Disney owns
Sora
Sora.
is Disney.
Yeah.
How the hell did he get in Smash? Holy shit!
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sakurai had to deal with Disney. That's why he's not
That
listed
is-
as a Square Enix character. He's listed as a Disney character.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
Let it be known that
And,
Sora could
like-
be added to Fortnite, and they haven't done it. I'm pissed off.
Yeah, and like the only Disney thing about Sora and Smash was like the Mickey Mouse on his keychain, and like that's it.
Which I'm
On
still
his-
surprised got in.
yeah.
Man, I remember because like we were all thinking like their Final Smash is like, oh, it's gonna have Donald and Goofy. Nope.
Nope.
It was a door. But yeah, I guess that's everything in relation to that whole thing. Moving on, we got another thing over on Twitter. This is an interesting headline to say the least. This comes from Idle Sloth over on Twitter. Unfortunately, Forza Motorsport has 3 legacy features that won't be ready for launch. Spectator mode, racing with AI and featured multiplayer, and split screen. Halo fans just ran away in fear hearing that one. I mean, that's just interesting to read. Like, is that a thing? Do you guys think? Because this was an issue with Baldur's Gate 3, not having split screen with what's it called? The Series S version. Do you think that could be a reason why that?
I wouldn't be
Split screen is
surprised
just not
because it seems like most problems like this come from the Series S version.
Yeah, that's what's weird to think about.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think-
Learn about it.
I'd say it's probably because of memory, right? Because when you look at split screen, you're rendering a bunch more polygons on screen at the same time, right? Virtually the double the amount that you had before. And the Series S has what, 8 gigabytes total of memory or something like that? So
can
that's
check that
pretty
out.
low. Yeah, I think that's pretty low for today's standards when you think about how the Steam Deck, for example, has 16. So yeah, the Series S
it
is just
says 10. Series S has
Yes.
10 gigabytes of RAM, 8 gigabytes running at 224. I don't know these things.
yes. So 10 gigabytes total, 8 for gaming and 2 for the system, for the OS. Because the 2 gigabytes that run at a lower clock rate, they're used for OS functions. And that's like one thing that Bethesda asked Xbox to change for Starfield or whatever. But yeah, so pretty slow amount of memory on the Series S, and I think that's what causes the biggest problems with split screen co-op.
That's really interesting. I mean, this is a weird thing in general when it like Forza Motorsport. I feel like has been like kind of quiet game for Xbox, where it's like it's gonna come out and it's gonna sell well. I feel like it hasn't gotten as much attention as like normally with Forza games, but I also think that's almost like Microsoft knowing the fan base. It's like, you guys are gonna buy it anyways.
Yeah,
Like,
the Forza
most
fan
of the
base
fan
seems
base
to
doesn't
be
care
like
enough.
this. The Forza fan base seems to be like this quiet pocket of the Xbox fandom where they don't really show themselves, but then they show up for Forza, they buy it, and then they disappear again.
Yeah,
You don't
Yeah,
really
it's just a
see
weird
them
thing.
like, oh yeah, I'm super excited for Halo and Forza, and you're just like, no, there you have the people who are just like, I'm here for Forza. Okay, give me my Forza. Okay, I'm going back into my hole.
It's a weird spectator mode. Like, isn't that a strange thing? Like, you can't. There's not even going to be a spectator mode at launch. Like, I don't know. These are like features that you feel like would be like guarantees.
They should be in
And
the
it's
game.
just
It's like, why aren't you delaying it?
exactly. Like, it's just like you can't just delay it 1 month to get this stuff in. And like, I'm not gonna sit here and say like, oh no, it's kind of like Redfall. This is a completely different situation. Like, Forza's gonna come out and it's gonna be good.
What was
But the
that other
question
game
is,
that came out
how
without
does it work?
spectator mode? It came out.
Halo
It came without.
Infinite?
I think it might have been Halo. Yeah, they had to add it later on.
That's just weird in general. It's like something like spectator mode can't be added. Like, I don't know, because like these aren't features that make or break the game, but like they're additive. They're add to the experience overall. So when they're gone, it just feels like you're missing a core part of the game, and not even like a core part, but like a part of the game that adds to the experience overall. Your overall feelings on a series. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, just quality of life things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In general. Moving on. Lollypop Chainsaw remake, now titled Lollypop Chainsaw RePop, delayed to summer 24. This comes from Sal Romano over on Gamatsu. Dragami Games has delayed the Lollypop Chainsaw remake from its previously planned 2023 release window to summer 2024, as well as announced its official title to be Lollypop Chainsaw RePop. Platforms were not unannounced. Although development of RePop was carried out with the intention of a 2023 release, our commitment to providing the best possible quality experience to our players led us to making the hard decision to extend the development period in order to ensure this, Dragami Games said in a press release. Interesting thing to say the least. Lollipop Chainsaw, a classic PS3 360 game, Suda 51 actually, and I love Suda 51. I've always wanted to play this game, and now I gotta wait an extra year, which is fine because honestly there was a lot to play this year. So it's like, hey, you know what? Go ahead and delay to 2024. I'll wait. Any guys excited for this remake?
Yeah, I am, but I never played the original. I always heard about it. I might just play the original before the remake so I can compare the two. But I kind of expected this, but we didn't hear anything about it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like this game like kind of quietly got announced, like, oh yeah, we're doing a Lollipop Chainsaw remake. Be excited. It was like a Twitter post that we hear literally nothing about it until this thing. Oh yeah, we have to delay it. It's like it's August and we never even got like a proper teaser trailer or anything. So it's like, yeah, I kind of forgot this existed, but at the same time, it's like if you remind me, oh yeah, did you remember Lollipop Chainsaw had a 2023 release? I'm like, that's not coming out this year. So I'm surprised it's coming as soon as summer 2024. Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it's good. I
was good. I'll check it out too. I never played the original. It was always one of those weird games. Like I should play that, but never got around to.
Yeah, it looks like a fun time. And Suda 51, if you guys have played his games, he is so fucking cool. Like I wouldn't say Suda 51 games are like the best games on the market, but they're some of the most unique. Where it's like you can tell the type of person Suda 51 is by his games, and that's kind of why I love them and why I'm always gonna check them out.
I love the title though.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious. RePop, that's good. Moving on. This is our last news story. We kind of got a leak of the PS5 Slim, but then it was kind of like retitled. It was like, oh, it's actually the PS5 like redesign. A lot of interesting things in general about this. I don't know if you guys saw the video on it. It is smaller. Maybe not as small as most people were wanting. Okay, so I'm going to be the contrarian. I think it looks fine. I've always been a fan of the PS5 design. I think it looks sick as hell. I know a lot of people have differing opinions on that, though.
It's ugly.
Okay, all right, listen. You people always say that. I'm just saying, do you really just want a boring-ass black box as your console?
Yes. If it's in, I can hide it.
Why do you want to hide it? I feel like I want to show it off. It's like a showpiece.
You can't hide it from, bro. The feds.
Really, I don't get it. Like people always say that you want to hide their consoles.
Because listen, I'm an adult. Okay, I have a house with an actual console center kind of a thing where like people come over and I don't want to be explaining.
I don't want people to think I play video games.
Yeah, what's that gaming looking thing over there, you nerd? You know what I mean? No, I just hide it and like, oh yeah, that's just my whatever.
I'm just imagining I'm just imagining Cyber like inviting his cool adult friends from work to come over for a fondue party. He's got to hide the console.
As cool adult friends have fondue parties.
Fondue parties.
Like that's the first thought. It's like, oh yeah, fondue party. I don't know.
All right, so our first live Slice of Gaming podcast that we do in person, we're gonna have a fondue party during the podcast.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I don't know.
Cyber's console.
I think the I think the PS5 looks cool. Okay, maybe I'm alone in this. I will stand on this hill. I will die on this hill. It's a cool looking console.
Okay, I will say it looks cool, but for certain situations and setups, it's really annoying with those giant ass flaps,
Yeah, it's way too
wings, and yeah, it
And
doesn't fit in a lot of things.
And that's why this redesign is nice. I mean, people were saying like it's not that much smaller. I feel like people really need to be reminded the PS5 is fucking huge.
It's fucking huge. I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, God, you're gigantic.
Dude, it's taller than my computer. It's literally taller than my computer, and my computer is huge.
That's insane. Like I will say, because like a lot of people were saying like it's like the video showed the person holding it in one hand. I tried holding my PS5 in one hand. That is not happening. All right, call me like weak or something, but like I don't know. That thing is.
Yeah,
huge.
he did say it was a case, right? It was just a case, so I think it was empty.
Yeah. Okay, so that makes more sense. But like even then, like I feel like in general, this is more, maybe not as much as we expected it to be redesign wise. But I don't know. I'm down for it. It looks a lot smaller, but like overall, like they definitely could have shrunk it a bit more.
I don't have like any real desire to get a redesign because mine works perfectly fine, unless there's like extra storage. Granted, I've already have like 2 external storages plugged into my PlayStation. But if it's somehow, because so this isn't a Pro or anything. This is not even technically a Slim. So yeah, there's no point in buying this unless you don't have a PS5 already. There's no point in buying this unless you're just some weird collector.
Hey, what's up, man?
You know what will make me buy it? If the beep is not as ridiculously loud.
Oh no,
turn that off
on the PS5.
Yeah.
Well, can I turn it off right now?
Yeah.
On the next
wait. The next update.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sweet.
like literally the next update.
I think we covered on the last episode that the next update that's coming up is you're able to turn off the beep.
Yeah, no,
Finally,
Bench was always talking
some
about how like
peace.
it's not that loud. Yeah, like, it's not that loud. It's like, dude, think about the 2 a.m. situation. You try to go get some cookies in the kitchen. That shit is loud. Like everything is louder at 2 a.m. and the PS5 beep is loud as fuck.
Yeah, so I have my PS5 in a separate room. Sorry, just talking about how loud it is. I have the PS5 in a separate room. It's about like 2 rooms away from where I sleep. And sometimes I play the PS5 remotely on my phone or my Steam Deck or whatever. And when I click, turn on whatever, I can hear the freaking beep through fans, through a white noise machine that keeps the baby asleep, and through whatever other noises that I have in my room. I can hear the beep clearly. It is loud. It is really, really
I'm just
loud.
imagining laying in bed, you turn on the Steam Deck, you just says beep.
That is, man. But yeah, we could turn it off. Hurrah! Moving on. Moving on. The news is over. So now we're gonna move on right into what we've been playing. Dark. What's going on, man? You're just playing Fortnite?
I've been burnt out. I realized I've been burnt out. Like, I'm not sure if you realized the last few games I've actually been have been like just JRPGs back to back. So I've been burnt out.
That's why you're playing JRPG after JRPG.
I keep telling you, the JRPG burnout is real.
Exactly.
I mean, it happens to me that I come back in like a month and I'll be fine. So I'll be fine by the time all the crazy game. But yeah, Fortnite is my downtime game. I play in between my other games. But this season sucked, if I'm being honest. But recently they had a big update that brought some life into it, and that's what I've mainly been playing this week.
JJK?
Not much. Yeah, they had a Jujutsu Kaisen event. That's a lot of fun, bro.
Nice.
It's the only redeeming feature of the season, because Fortnite, for whatever reason, loves making their filler seasons during the summer, which makes no sense to me, but yeah, that's about it.
Moon. Moon, I remember last podcast famously you said, oh yeah, by the next podcast I'll be Dead Space.
That's because I thought Dead Space had like maybe 10 chapters. No, this has 12. I got to chapter 7. Chapter 6 was weirdly longer than any other chapter, but I finally did beat that, and there were just some nights I just didn't want to play. So I maybe could have beat it by now if I like hard pushed it, but no. I got too much going on right now. But maybe even by next podcast.
Stop! Don't put
Here
dates
it comes.
Yeah, bro.
It comes. He's like, guys.
I promise. So I will say though, there are I don't remember much of the original Dead Space, but there are some key things that I remember. And the Leviathan fight at the end of Chapter 6 was one that I remember. They did it so much better in this game. Like, the inclusion of this new and improved zero gravity is so much better than the original game. So it's all this new zero gravity stuff that they've added in the game is a very big highlight for me.
That's good to hear. Cyber, you got a few games here.
Yeah, so I played Persona 5 Strikers for a little bit. I just finished last month Persona 5 Royal. I platinumed it, so it was about 150 hours, and I kind of dropped Strikers because I was getting tired of it, and I didn't want to get burned out and not play it. It's a fun game though. I enjoyed the little bit I played of it. I was just getting too tired of it because of the Persona burnout from 5 Royal. So I've been playing Diablo and Remnant 2, 50-50. I've splitting my time on those. Two really fun games though, highly recommended by me. And Remnant 2 is surprisingly challenging, and like the combat is very deep, and I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I think Wolf will really like it
Yeah, I really
since
want
he
to hear
likes
more
Souls
about that.
games.
It's like a Souls game with like shooter elements.
Yeah, you have some melee elements, like the melee combos are like maybe 3 or 4 hits only, but the biggest part of the fun is shooting. The shooting is done so that it is challenging, but also the enemies are not bullet spongy, which I really appreciate.
Oh, that's
You are
exciting.
moving, yeah, you're moving all the time. If you stop moving, you're gonna get killed. So it's just a very fun action game. And yeah, I'm having a ton of fun with that one.
And it's co-op as well.
Yep, it's better with co-op. So if you have people to play with, then that's how you should do it.
Interesting. Might have to check that one out. But
Yeah.
I'll add it to the backlog of the 500 other games this year. Chat. You're playing quite a bit.
Oh yeah, so one of the games I played just last week. It was a cute indie game that launched on Game Pass called Venba, and in that one you play as a mother from India who immigrates with her family to Canada, and I mean that game kind of is relatable to my life because that's exactly what my parents did, and you cook a lot of like South Indian dishes. It's a very cozy game, and I recommend checking out. Like it's a very short 1.5 2 hour game to play. And as for other games I was playing, last time I was here, I talked about playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm still playing that,
Oh man,
but
Chat.
yeah, you know, one day I'll
Rivaling
beat it.
Moon over here, goddamn.
Yeah. Yeah, and then also I've been playing more of Jedi Survivor. That game slightly more fixed. I still ran into glitches, but
Yeah, me and Fuchsia talked about that one a lot about how glitchy it was. Is it still just not working out well?
yeah, it's it's mostly fine though. Yeah, and yeah, this weekend I will possibly be starting Baldur's Gate, depending on if I make time for that because I just got it for the Steam Deck, so we'll see how that goes.
That if by the end of the year you beat FF7 remake, I'm gonna be so proud of you.
Thank you.
What chapter are you on in that game, actually?
Oh, I'm just okay. This is gonna be like a little bit of spoilers, but the
Well, just
part
say the
after.
chapter name.
Oh, I think it was 9. Something about a house.
9?
That's all I'm
Okay.
gonna say. Yeah.
The house.
Oh, you like
Yeah,
half
the
of it.
house.
Yeah. Okay, you could probably beat it by like next month at the very least. At the
Yeah.
rate, yeah. No.
When
No,
are
I
you
mean, as
finishing
long as
Fire
you're
Emblem Three Houses?
don't ask me
You know
about that, man.
what?
Listen, my man Jat has a life outside of gaming, all right? That's all I'll say. He just got into JRPGs and realized they're
Yeah.
pretty dang long.
Yeah.
Outside of gaming, mentions he's gonna play Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I could. When he said he's gonna play Baldur's Gate 3, it's like, oh, he's never gonna beat Final Fantasy.
It's like we'll see Jad in 2027 when Last of the Ronin comes out. He'll finally beat Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Hey. Moving on. to me, speaking of JRPGs, I have been absolutely obsessed and in love with Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
boy.
guess a little bit of background. Yakuza 0, I played like earlier this year around January, and I really loved a lot of aspects of that game, especially when it came to the story and characters. But I hated the combat so much. It was just not doing anything for me. It felt like a chore to get through. Playing Like a Dragon, I was always like, okay, maybe Like a Dragon will do better for me because like it's turn based. I love turn based JRPGs, and I think like, okay, maybe this could be it. And let me tell you guys, it is fucking it. Everything about this game has been hitting to me on every single level of why I love video games. The characters, Ichiban is one of the best gaming protagonists already, and I'm only like 8 chapters in, and I'm saying this. I cannot
Correct.
wait to see what
It is a correct
this
statement.
the story is genuinely like there's twists and turns and it never feels like because there are times in JRPG I love JRPGs, but there's sometimes where the twist happens like okay. Like you kind of like chuckle a little like okay, you guys thought you were real funny with this. Like there are twists in this game that genuinely like shocked me, got me so excited to see where the story would go from there. And that's not even mention the side content. There's this movie theater where you have to fight off like sheeps trying to make you fall asleep. There's like this whole real estate game that is just super addicting in and of itself. There's like a game where you collect cans that I was over here playing like for half an hour today, just trying to get the S rank on all of them. It's just one of those games that I feel like I could play forever. And they keep adding more content. There's more and more and more content. And like none of it feels like bloated. Like you look at a Ubisoft game, a lot of that side content feels so bloated. With this game, it just feels like side content that you want to engage in because it's all so well realized. I mean, just karaoke, that was like my favorite thing in Yakuza 0, and even in this game it's even better. So many more songs, there's so many more like actual fun music videos with each character you get. Everything about this game just feels so much more of what I wanted from Yakuza 0, while also just fixing my number one thing, which is the combat. And to me, like the combat itself isn't exactly like revolutionary JRPG combat. I wouldn't say it's like my favorite JRPG turn-based combat, but it's fun. It's enjoyable for what it is, and
It's
it's like,
super fun.
and I have heard there are difficulty spikes later on in the game. I am prepared for that, but I guess
You're
just
not.
like if I'm not, but it's one of those games like I at this point of the game, it's like I want to 100% this. I want to get the platinum trophy. Like I am absolutely obsessed with this game. Whenever I go to work, it's all I think of because there's just something about that gameplay loop of just
It's
doing a main quest that's incredible, and then you move on and do a bunch of side shit for way too long. And I think that's kind of the mark of an amazing game to me, is where the side content feels less like I want to do this because like I don't want to think about the main quest. It's more like I am so obsessed with the side content even though I want to go and do the main quest. That is the mark of a true and an amazing game. I genuinely think this is going to be like, if it sticks to landing, this could be one of my favorite JRPGs. I am absolutely obsessed with it. And
yeah,
I know Moon,
it's
you love the game as well.
yeah, it's in my top 25. So I don't know where in my 25, but every time I make like a top 25 list in our Discord, it's always there. So along with Persona, Xenoblade 3, and all these other, because it's the like you said, the combat is nothing revolutionary, but it's super fun, especially because you can mix and match with all the different jobs. A lot of different play styles for each character is super fun, and of course, yeah, like you said, all the side content is amazing. The character and just the way they make the game and their world is just so much fun to be in.
Yeah, and the dub is phenomenal as well. I forgot
Oh
to
yeah,
mention that. But I don't like Yakuza 0 being sub didn't bother me, but it's a lot easier for me to get invested in a video game story. Like an anime is like a different thing because it's like that's episodic. Like a video game where I'm playing this for like 80 hours, like it's a lot easier for me to get invested with like English voice acting. That's just a me thing, of course. But like, I mean, the Ichiban's I cannot get over Ichiban, dude. He is genuinely one of the most
one of the
lovable
best protagonists.
He's so full of life. Like he has this like fierce loyalty for people that is so admirable. It never feels like he's stupid. He's just someone that genuinely cares about the people he cares about. I could gush and gush about this game all day, but all you need to know is just go play this game. Just play this.
It's on
freaking
Game
game.
Pass. Go play it.
Yeah, like if you're like me, you tried Yakuza before. It's like, oh man, I don't know. Like it's like no, Like a Dragon fixed everything that I had with Zero, and I am so ready to play more tonight. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that we've been playing. Moon, I'm gonna hand it right back to you for outros.
All right. So that was a fun and very. I think that was a diverse episode of different topics regarding the game industry. So that's always a good time when we get real deep into the nitty gritty like that. So I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you, Jet and Cyber, for joining us on today's episode. You were perfect replacements for Bench and Fusion, who decided to take more vacation time. They're probably still on the beach somewhere. I swear, has Fusion and Bench taken more time off episodes than they've actually been on episodes at this point?
I feel like
So at this
Fusion. I think at least with Fusion, it's a little bit like suspicious. It's like, wait, is Fusion really going on vacation?
Yo, the one as soon as
Maybe
one of
he's
us
just,
takes
like,
a
doesn't want to
team
go with
off, it's going to be a big issue. I'm telling you.
Well, the problem is
me
it's
and
only
Moon,
going to be.
me and Moon can't. We're stuck here.
It's going to be interesting. Like all three of us have been on every episode. It's going to be interesting to see like which of us three is going to be the first to like, fall off and not be on an episode.
I'll be on every episode possible.
Same.
So be sure to tune in for next week for episode 14 of A Slice of Gaming podcast. Like I said, you can catch us on every Saturday on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and Audible.com. So hope you all have a good night, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you listen to us. But thanks for listening. Have a good one.
Yeah.